Hi, I'm Avery, and this is my speech on how addiction is a disease rather than a choice. This is Robbie, Jennifer, and Christina, and they'll be sitting in for my speech today. A lot of people don't understand how people can become addicted to drugs. Why would you continue to go back to the thing that is killing you? Whether it's a family member or a friend, a lot of people think that addiction is a choice rather than a disease. It's actually a mental illness such as anxiety or depression. I have worked at Teen Challenge, which is a rehab facility, for 2.5 years, and I've looked up several articles relating to the medical standpoint on how addiction is a disease. I have also been to several rehab programs myself, and I go to Narcotics Anonymous on a daily basis and come into contact with several addicts. My thesis here is to prove that addiction is a disease, not a choice, how somebody can acquire the disease, and the difference between an addict and a non-addict. Moving forward with that, addiction is a disease caused by certain things such as behavioral factors, environmental factors, or biological factors, just like diabetes or cancer. It can actually be treated or prevented, and if it's not, it can leave somebody with serious physical illnesses or mental illnesses that need to be addressed with medication. This comes from the Center on Addiction, the internet article, The Disease of Addiction. Chemicals are released in the brain whenever we experience pleasure for things such as thirst, hunger, or sex. Now, once substances are added into the mix, those chemicals become even more intense and can actually cause our perceptions of motivation and reward to become warped. And this is why people tend to put drugs before everything else, because they get that intense overdrive of those chemicals. The chemical release in the body can actually change the body or the brain chemicals in how it reacts. It can be prevented or treated just like any other disease, and this comes from the shatterproof internet article, Addiction is a Chronic Brain Disease. Moreover, on how people can acquire the disease of addiction, 50 to 60% of addicts actually have genetic factors in that where it runs in the family. This comes from Addictions and Recovery, the internet article, Genetics of Addiction. There are several influential factors, such as if somebody grows up in an environment where somebody is using drugs as an adult or has a criminal background, they will pick up on that and actually will give them a moral deficiency. This will make them feel that it's okay to try that lifestyle out later in life. The earlier a person uses drugs, the more likely they are to become an addict themselves. No one truly knows that they are an addict until they take their first hit or their first drink, and this is usually a voluntary situation. It's literally like a switch in the brain. No one chooses how their brain will react to the drugs. It doesn't matter who you grew up with or who your family members are. And this comes from Shatterproof, the internet article, Addiction is a Chronic Brain Disease. Moreover, there are severe differences between an addict and a non-addict. For example, a non-addict may be able to smoke weed and never try another drug for the rest of their life. They may also be able to quit whenever they feel it necessary. However, an addict does not have the capability to stop when they feel necessary, and they can actually become unsatisfactory with that weed high and search out more substances that are heavier than that in order to keep the continuity of emotional stability and happiness. Explaining the disease of addiction is actually almost impossible for a non-addict to understand. Dependence can definitely alter your body, your mind, and your lifestyle and how they function all together. And this comes from a Forever Recovery, the internet article, Addicts versus Non-Addicts. Finally, there are several ways that you can acquire the disease of addiction. There are several outlets, several factors that play into that. And there are several medical aspects, such as the environmental factors, biological behavior factors that I had mentioned previously. And there are obviously huge differences between addicts and non-addicts in every single aspect of life, not even just the drug usage, but how they react in regular life situations. Now, we can't blame an addict for becoming addicted to these substances. However, we can hold them accountable for their recovery once they're aware of their addiction. We also need to spread awareness about how addiction is a very deadly disease and how it takes people's lives every single day. And that is my speech.